Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D Max. So let's talk. First, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's coming in and joining the conversation. Thank you for joining the congregation. We have a new subscriber that puts us at 120. Yes, them big numbers. We talking big numbers. But no, in all seriousness, man, I appreciate every single subscriber because as I've stated before, I have quality subscribers. I have people with knowledge and people with understanding and people who are willing to share that knowledge and understanding. And so I really appreciate my tight core. And shouts out to you. I'm definitely going to go in, and I don't have a long list, so I can definitely give some individual shout outs at another time. But right now, I want to get into something that's kind of important, I feel, and that's the collective mental health of the United States. In my mind, I see this. We're not just fighting a COVID pandemic, we are fighting many multiple pandemics on different spectrums. And these things have to be shone like a light shined on these things so that we can understand what's really going on and the severity that we're not seeing with the naked eye. So when I say that we have a collective mental health pandemic going on as well, because this COVID pandemic has shined a light on another major issue that we have and suffer from in the United States. And that is a majority of our people are suffering from some type of mental health issue. And when I say majority, I mean majority. If you go and look up the statistics of people who are going to therapy and who has to have some type of mental health assistance somewhere along their life, then you're not going to find many. And the ones that you don't find on the list are usually the people who have no health care coverage to be able to afford to go to some type of help or therapy. So you have so many people in the hood who are undiagnosed with major and severe mental health issues, and it's just going untreated and it's going unaddressed and unacknowledged. And so when we have a lot of these things that take place, we will say, oh, how horrible these people are, but we're not understanding the intricacy of what's really taking place in the mental state of that person who did the offense. So you have a lot of people out here with mental health issues. Now, we in the hood, when we have somebody who had no care for what the law thought or no care for consequences and they just went and did stuff, we'd be like, oh, they savage. So we'll put that brand on them to glorify them and say, oh, that person's savage. He don't care about nothing. He do whatever he want to. We should respect him and be scared of him. But we're not taking into consideration that this guy has some transmitters that are not pushing the signal to his brain that this is not something you should be doing. We're not taking that into consideration because we're so enamored by the boldness of that person to do something. And so we get caught up in these things and we begin to glorify mental health issues in a person. There's many times throughout our history we've glorified people who have been diagnosed by today's doctors as having severe mental health problems. Matter of fact, a majority of our world leaders and presidents, former presidents, have had some type of sociopathy. And if you don't know what that is, that's a sociopath. That's someone who lacks empathy and sympathy. And there's so many different things that can go into it. If you like, you can study up on it a little bit more to understand what I mean when I say sociopathy. And when you do study up on it, you're going to find that a lot of people that we see in leadership roles today carry a lot of those characteristics of someone who's going through sociopathic tendencies. And so you look at our society build up as a whole in the United States, and I'm going to just name off certain groups of people who absolutely are suffering from mental health issues, and they often go untreated for the fear of, not being able to progress in your respective field. And so I'll start with military soldiers, of course. We deal with a lot of mental health issues just through a lot of it starts with the breaking and basic training because it's a culture shock, especially if you come in the military at 18, sometimes 17 years old. You have no structure in your life and nothing of that nature. And all of a sudden, you're put in this very tightly structured environment. It's a culture shock to a lot of kids. And that is the begin of their decline and not build up. Because in that spectrum, they tear you down first in order to build you back up. But the problem is that sometimes when they tear down, they're not successful in the build back up. And so that's why it starts there. And then you send this person somewhere they've never been before. Their life is in threatened, being threatened on a regular basis. It builds and it causes that psychopathy to grow and to become more intense. And there's no solution been made for it. So that's the soldier. You have almost the same identical thing with the police officers, because police officers, a lot of times people don't understand that they're military reserve as well as police officers, and so they will deploy as well, and their job will excuse them for these deployments because it's in service to their country. They'll go and do deployments and come back right back on the police force to their job, and they have to deal with everything that they did and saw downrange and bring that back to the streets. So police officers, not to mention all of the situations that they deal with on the streets, these people are very mentally sick and they will not go and get any help, because if you do while you're trying to go up the ranks, it's going to interfere with you being promoted. And so they'll shy away from that help. And so you have all of these people who are in very important positions with your life in their hands most of the times, and they're suffering with these mental health issues that are going untreated and unaddressed. The next group of people are the healthcare workers, because you consider the paramedics who show up to the scene before the police officers even get there. The paramedics who see the children who have been murdered, who see the end results of domestic violence. You don't think that stuff get to those people, and it warps their sense of what the world is, and they get to see the dark underbelly of what people can do when they're in the midst of their anger, in the midst of their hatred. This affects those people, and they have to take that stuff home with them sometimes. Imagine a baby dying in your arm because the father beat the baby to death because the baby was crying. We just had a case of this not even a few days ago. So these people have to deal with this type of stuff, and it affects them, and they're going untreated because they're so busy treating other people. They don't have the time to get treatment. And when they go see the residential doctor or whatever at the job, that's going to affect their rising up in the ranks, because having these issues and being bothered by these issues and being affected by them somehow has become a weakness in the eyes of society. And so they're going to paint a negative light on you for being affected and being human and having a heart. So those are other people that have these mental health issues and they still have to perform at a high level. The next are victims of any type of trauma, and they have to go and deal with it. And earlier, I referred to people in the hood who don't have insurance and can't afford to go to these doctors and therapists and things like that. I'm so thankful to God that, He put me in a position to where my health care and my family's health care is covered by the military. So I was able to get the help that I needed for my PTSD and other issues that I went through. But you have people out here who are not that fortunate and they don't get the help they're needed. Instead, they're put in the back room and kept away from most of the family, and eventually they're going to have to come out of the room. And sometimes it's not a pretty thing, so. And then I alluded to politicians as well. They also deal with so much. You imagine people who are holding secrets and they know that they have to come out in front of us and lie to us as a nation. You know how much pressure that is on a person? That's why those people age so quickly when they get put in those offices, because of the immense pressure that they're under, the stuff that they have to hold to themselves. The power vacuum is another thing that causes the mental health issues, because everybody's on that quest for power. And once you get a little, you're always going to want a little more. And so now you have all of these different viewpoints are coming together to cause groups like the Proud Boys to form, groups like BLM to form, Antifa, the neo Nazis, the Republican and Democratic parties. All of these are formed out of I'll say, the collective agreement of mentally sick people. You want things to be one way and you see that there's no other way of success other than your way, and there are people who agree with you, and you come together in order to try to force everybody to see things from your view. This is what our government does. And when you hear it broken down like that, does that not sound sick? Do you want somebody to come in and tell you that no, you're wrong? You should think like me. And if you don't think like me, you're stupid and I'm going to persecute you. This is what we do on a daily basis. And so there's a very, very prevalent mental health issue all the way around our nation entirely. And we have to recognize this, because if you go into therapy, we all know that one of the first things in change is acknowledging it. Hey, what's going on, Dr. Walsh? Man, hey, this is one of the new subscribers. I don't like to call people subscribers, my brother. I call people congregation members, man. I appreciate you coming in, brother. You said, I'm tired of the BS. I'm ready to ride on them. Hey, brother, I know the feeling, man. You said you're going out with a bang. Brother, I know the feeling, man. I went through like a 3-year period of just anger because of the things that was being revealed to me in the spirit, man. And like through those times, man, so many ideas came in my head, what I could do. But really, man, the spirit of the Most High came in and quenched that desire in me, man. And he told me, I read it in the scripture. He said, and I'm gonna just paraphrase this: the more knowledge that you gain of this world, the more sorrow you gonna have, man, because you understand the true severity of the sickness that this world is suffering from. Salute to you, Reverend Tony. Good to see you, my brother. And so that's what quenched my fire, bro. And I'm starting to gain some understanding of why we going through what we're going through, and that's why I jump on here and talk about the stuff that I do, just to connect with like-minded people like you and like Reverend Tony, man, and like Truth Lady and other people that come on. And that goes into what I was just saying about all of these different groups. You have different subgroups who are like-minded, and they're going to band together. Now, some of them are out to push an agenda and try to push their views and values on people. And then you have some that's just, hey, I got some wisdom for you. You can take it or leave it. But you can tell the ones who are trying to push an agenda, because they're the ones who have the whole system backing them, because there's an underlying result that they're trying to get. But I go into that some other time, man. I can talk on that all day. But like I was saying, man, you have all of these subgroups who are who are trying to push their narrative on an entire collective of us as a nation, man. And that's the mental health issues that we're dealing with. So all of these groups that I just named, man, and they dealing with mental health problems. And then we go into the fact that back in April, do y'all realize that California released 76,000 violent inmates? You know what I'm saying? And I know that not all people in prison are criminals, and not all people in the church is saved. I understand that, but the fact that you would release 76,000 people at one time who have the potential to repeat, that's saying a lot about the mentality of California to me. And no diss to California, I'm talking about y'all government. I ain't talking about the people. And so, um, yeah, man, we have to be aware of the mental health problems that are in the people who are placed in position over us. You said Louisiana did too. See, man, we got there. This is the time where we have to start to make a plan, man, and start to make a contingency plan, because we can't rely on this government. We're seeing how incompetent our government is becoming, because they're so drunk off the wine of their deception. And that's the word, man. They drunk off the wine of their deception, and so they can't make any um educated decisions concerning us, because they're so intoxicated off their own power and their own agendas, man. And so we have to start making plans for ourselves and not leaving it up to these people, because they're going to lead us right into ruin. And I got plan A, I got plan B, and I got plan C. So just keeping an eye out, man. But there's definitely more than one pandemic that we're dealing with as a country. We're dealing with the opioid problem. We're dealing with crack meth. We're dealing with gangs. We're dealing with bullying, which is causing these school shootings. We're dealing with incompetent leadership who's now we're dealing with the reckoning of children whose education was bought and they was put in positions of power without the qualifications, and now you're seeing their failures coming to pass. There's so many different epidemics that we are dealing with right now. Now, I've spoken about the harbingers, the nine harbingers of Israel. Those were nine warning signs that was given to Israel before its destruction. And so these things are starting to add up. And I'm looking at like 7 or 8 different occurrences right now. We're getting close to 9. That'll be those 9 harbingers. If we hit 10, that's the 10 plagues. But that's a deeper discussion, man. You said the Hennessy of power. That's it. That's it, man. These dudes they drunk off of that wine of deception, that wine of power, man, and they gonna do everything that they can to get it, man. So, as long as you recognize the signs for what they are, man, and keep your house in order throughout this whole thing. It's kind of like Lot whenever he was in Sodom and Gomorrah. You around all of this chaos and calamity, man, and you just keeping yourself tight, man, and Yahweh giving us the strength to be able to do so, man. So be grateful in that. Have peace in the fact that Yahweh is giving you the vision to see what is taking place, man, and that his word is true. That's what we take our peace in, man. And that's why we able to be calm and collective in these times, man, and not allow our anger to get to the best of us and go ride on somebody. Because believe me, brother, I've had that feeling so many times myself, but it was tempered by the spirit. So um, yeah, man, that's all. I just wanted to bring awareness to the minds of the people this morning, man, and let everybody know that when you look at somebody and you think that's a sane person, really look at what is our standard of sane nowadays in this country. Because I was just saying the other day to one of my nephews, man, if Charles Manson and his family were present during this generation right now, they wouldn't get a second look. They would be like a story in the back of the paper. because of how much the violence and how much the just the craziness has amped up since the time of Charles Manson. Charles Manson would have never in this age been as much of a phenomenon as he was back then, because there's so much commonality in the hatred and the crime and the evil acts. So yeah, man, let's just stay astute, man, and do our thing out here and navigate through this crazy world. You said you had a dream 10 years ago where God came out the sky and everyone continued to sin. I cried and woke up crying. Bro, it's funny that you say that, because I was looking for this scripture the other day, and it says something like this. It says, whenever the second coming of the Son of Man takes place, whatever you're doing in that moment, keep on doing it. So if you out there doing dirt and the sky open up, keep on doing what you're doing, because that's not gonna save you to try to switch up at the last moment because you see the consequences or the reckoning taking place. No, keep on doing what you was doing. So if you was doing the right thing, then keep on doing the right thing. If you was doing wrong, keep on doing whatever you was doing. Keep on doing it, man. And so that's just the witness. That's just the spirit bearing witness to the age that we in, brother. You know, when we have dreams like that, man, we really need to take heed to those dreams and stuff. And the spirit is gonna give you clarity on what the meaning is, because the spirit's never gonna leave you in the dark. You know, but yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I just wanted to put this word out here. Hey, I appreciate y'all brothers definitely coming through today, man, because this is a high topic. This is something that people shy away from talking about because nobody wants to accept the responsibility for their actions. And so they're always gonna have itchy ears for those stories that really not gonna bring any benefit to the people other than entertainment value. But I'm not here to entertain, man. I'm here to enlighten, man. So once again, I appreciate y'all, brothers, man, and salute to everybody else who comes on and checks out this podcast, because this is some information that my spirit felt the unction to bring forth. So, hey, y'all, brothers, have a blessed day, man. Go out and be great. This is your boy D Mac. Y'all know what I say: sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always hear you, man. I'm out.